One Zambia, one nation, and thanks for joining us on Zanis News. To present, my name is Juliet Mutale. Top stories in the news tonight. Zambia's debt restructuring key to steer economic development. Zambia gears up to host King Mswati of Eswatini for trade fair. Government releases 1 million kwacha towards the rehabilitation of desks in Luapula. Plus, civil servants warned against abuse of farming imports. Zanis News in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema says reaching the debt restructuring achievement was a difficult task and that the country can now redirect its resources to other areas of development. President Hichilema has since thanked Zambians for their patience when the restructuring process was going on. The president has returned back home from France, where Zambia clinched a deal to restructure the country's 6.3 billion United States dollar debt. Mr. Hichilema was greeted to a thunderous welcome by hundreds of people. Let's take a look in this report.
President Hakainde Hichilema is back from Paris, France, where a deal was clinched to have Zambia's 6.3 billion United States dollar debt restructured. And speaking when he addressed a crowd at the airport, President Hichilema admitted that reaching the debt restructuring achievement was not an easy task.
We knew that the change we were voted on included restructuring the economy, reforms, and something was standing in our way. Something that was behaving like a python, conscripting us in the neck, conscripting us in the ribs, and tying our legs together, and we couldn't move as we wanted. That was the debt mountain. We promised that we will work very quickly to restructure the debt. It was not easy. It was difficult, I must confess.
The head of state has also expressed gratitude to the Zambian people for their patience while thanking China, France, and South Africa for the role played in the restructuring process under the G20 Common Framework for Debt Treatment.
I want to thank the chairs of this process under the G20. And who are they? China. Thank you to President Xi Jinping and the people of China. Who was the co-chair? France. I want to thank President Emmanuel Macron and the people of France for taking leadership in this process. These co-chairs were deputized by our near neighbor, South Africa. I want to thank President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa and the people of South Africa.
The president has also stated that the debt restructuring will allow government to redirect resources towards other areas of development.
This debt restructuring 6.3 billion means we now will have breathing space. The python is slowly coming out of our body. Now we can breathe. Now we can redirect resources in developmental areas. Education, health, agriculture. Now we can invest more in revenue generation.
Minister of Home Affairs Jack Mwimbo said President Hichilema has achieved a feat that seemed impossible.
The achievement, Mr. President, you have made for this country is not a mean achievement. It's an achievement that will be celebrated in the long time to come. We are happy, Mr. President, that you are back home.
We welcome you here in Lusaka province and the country at large. We are celebrating as a country. We want to thank God for giving you good health, for giving you courage.
Mtalakani for Zanis News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, President Hichilema has dispelled conceptions by foreign media that Africa's peace initiative to end the Russia-Ukraine armed conflict was a failed mission. The head of state defended Africa's peace mission to Russia and Ukraine as necessary to address the negative impacts seen through rising prices of food and energy. In separate interviews with renowned international media, among them Bloomberg, Reuters, and Radio France International, Mr. Hichilema said a lot of positives were attained that formed the basis for ending the war. President Hichilema pointed out that the release of prisoners of war and other captives was brokered to the benefit of both warring nations. Mr. Hichilema clarified to the foreign media in a separate interview that attaining truce in an armed conflict takes time. He also took time to share Zambia's invaluable experience in debt management, as it was the first country to successfully clinch a deal of debt restructuring with its creditors under the G20 framework. And President Hichilema also shared insights into Zambia's continued economic transformation agenda and highlighted the strides made in providing free education, youth empowerment, among other interventions. Vice President Mtalina Lumango has called on Zambians to support local manufacturers by consuming locally made products. Mr. Lumango says government, in collaboration with the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, started a Zambia campaign aimed at promoting the production and consumption of high quality and locally produced goods and services. The Vice President said this in a speech read on her behalf by Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mlenga, when he flagged off the proudly Zambian sustainability walk at East Park Mall in Lusaka. And speaking at the same event, Zambia Association of Manufacturers President Asha Sagas says the association recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the American government through the USA program to bring environmental social governance as a training platform for ZAM members. Mr. Sagas says ZAM is the first Zambian association to sign an MOU, and doing so will put the country on the map in terms of sustainable production processes and responsible post-processes.
I'm very happy to note that among the objectives of this work is to raise awareness of the Proudly Zambian campaign. We all agree that Zambian companies produce a wide range of goods and services which our people must support by consuming local. As a government, in collaboration with the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, we established the Proudly Zambia campaign under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. This campaign is aimed at promoting the production and consumption of high-quality, locally produced goods and services. I therefore implore the media to spread the campaign message widely.
We must walk this path together with government, as members, and as manufacturers. We all have a role to play. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our broader efforts as an association to bring all our companies on board with the sustainability program. Apart from the Proudly Zambian campaign, we recently signed an MOU with the American government through the USAID program to actually bring ESG as a training platform for our members. We have been the first association to do this in the country.
Recognize that our efforts alone are not enough. Therefore, we call upon the private sector to actively participate in waste management to ensure a green and clean Lusaka city and industry.
Copperbelt Province. Provincial Minister Elisha Matambo says the region is ready to receive King Mswati of the Kingdom of Eswatini, who will grace this year's International Trade Fair in Ndola. The minister said this when Eswatini High Commissioner accredited to Zambia but based in South Africa paid a courtesy call on him in Ndola. Mr. Matambo notes that the visit of King Mswati signifies the warm relationship that Zambia enjoys with the Kingdom of Eswatini. And Eswatini High Commissioner accredited to Zambia, Lindiwe Kunene, is happy with the invitation and will report back to King in Eswatini on the progress which has been made. The trade fair is expected to commence next week on the 28th of June, and all local and foreign exhibitors have stepped up their preparations.
Our relationship has been cemented by His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema. I think he came to your country, and then it can also be seen that for you to come and be one of the people participating in the International Trade Fair here in Ndola, it shows that we have strong bilateral relations, even when it comes to doing business together. I want to say that we are very delighted as Copperbelt Province to learn that you will be receiving the King here. And I think you're coming to come and check how the place is and going around the trade fair, and I pray that you are impressed with what you found. And the people of Copperbelt are ready to and eager to receive him to come and be the guest of honor in the coming International Trade Fair.
Visited the stand and we have all appreciated. Oh, okay. So we've seen that, okay, everything is in order. So we'll be taking back the report back to the kingdom. We thank you.
We now take a break, but still to come, government releases 1 million kwacha towards the rehabilitation of 1,600 desks.
For news and current affairs, entertainment, sports, children's programs, and a host of other events in and beyond our borders, Zanis TV has you covered. On Channel 6 and Channel 458 on Topstar.
Welcome back. Wapula Province Acting Deputy Permanent Secretary John Mwasha flagged off the distribution of desks to some schools in Mansa District, and government has released 1 million kwacha towards the rehabilitation of 1,600 desks to ease the shortage of desks through the Constituency Development Fund. Here are the details.
Like some other schools in Wapula Province, Chile Primary is no stranger to this situation, as its head teacher shares.
The school has the total enrollment of 2,709 for 12 classes. Previously, we had only 56 desks. In March, we received 40 desks. The shortfall is 300 to cater the number of pupils, in line with the classes that we have. Again, we are privileged to receive 50 coming from the PO's office through the New Dawn government to support the free education policy in the schools.
However, the advent of desk shortage is slowly coming to an end as government is addressing the issue. A desk rehabilitation initiative by the Ministry of Education has been ongoing as a tour to the rehabilitation center, and refurbished desk distribution by government authorities highlights
that the Ministry of Education has come up with to rehabilitate the damaged desks so that we alleviate the shortages of desks in our learning institutions. Therefore, His Excellency the President is so passionate about education. He directed the procurement of desks in all the learning institutions. And the 12 local authorities in Wapula Province are procuring desks. This is an indication that by the end of 2023, our schools are not going to be the same.
But as a province, we have a shortfall of 48,308 desks, double-seater desks, and 39,537 single-seater desks. However, the Ministry of Education, through the initiative of funding the provincial education offices to rehabilitate broken down desks so that we could rehabilitate desks, all the frames that are lying about in our schools, so that the numbers mentioned above as shortfall could be reduced.
Mansa School for Continuing Education manager shared the challenges faced by the desk rehabilitation and distribution center.
At least try us, because we have seen private sectors are being given the opportunity to make desks, but our school has not been given this privilege.
That this school can have this potential ability to come up with these desks. As a district, we are buying desks under CDF. And because of what I've seen with my own naked eyes, I'm sure Master Skills, you are not going to be left out.
David Ndovi for Zanis, Mansa District.
Kafue Council has disbursed 2.1 million kwacha constituency development funds as loans to 23 beneficiaries. Kafue Member of Parliament Miriam Chonya gave out checks to successful applicants. Here's a report.
The local authority in Kafue district has disbursed about 2.1 million kwacha as loans to 23 beneficiaries from the 2022 CDF allocation. Kafue Member of Parliament Miriam Chonya today gave out checks to successful beneficiaries who applied for empowerment. Ms. Chonya called on the beneficiaries to venture into businesses that will create employment opportunities in the district.
So the total amount to be disbursed, as you might have heard earlier, today is 2,110,800 kwacha. That is what we are disbursing today. And the loans, these same loans will be disbursed through our Indo-Zambia Bank Kafue branch, and all the repayments will be done through the same bank. Let me now take this opportunity to congratulate the 23 of you that will be beneficiaries today and urge you to please ensure that you make good investments that will make your businesses grow and also create jobs.
Provincial Local Government Officer Kambika Nondo emphasized the need for beneficiaries to use the funds for the intended purpose.
Discipline is a very important component for us to invest. We receive this money, we do not expect to multiply the number of spouses, whether husbands or wives. So we need to be disciplined with the money that we are receiving today. The second one is to focus. That which you applied for and propose that we need money for this particular activity, do it until you accomplish it.
And Rose Mwanza, one of the beneficiaries, thanked President Hakainde Hichilema for coming up with policies to empower Zambians.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank the President, His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for creating policies that are allowing Zambians to grow economically.
Irene Nganga, Zanis, Kafue.
Now move to the northern part of the country. The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, in Kaputa district has handed over 2 banana boats to the community of Mataka area in Lubendwa ward of Kaputa. DMMU Kaputa district officer Chundu Habalembe says the boats will ease the challenges that the people were facing in crossing the Choma Mutima River. Here are the details.
The people of Lubendwa and more wards in Kaputa district have been facing challenges accessing Mataka area due to the poor state of the road and lack of good water vessels. Government, through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, has since brought banana boats to ensure safety of the people crossing the Chomamutima River into the area. And acting Kaputa District Administrative Officer who led the delegation to the handover of the banana boats said government prioritizes the safety of the people.
Urging the community to guard these boats jealously. Let's have a management team that will control the management of these boats. We have even some of the pupils who come from this area who go to the same ward. Now with the boats, we are assured that every time they have to go, they will be using the same boats, and we shall have obviously no problems of crossing the river. Our message, and we reiterate, is that government is on the ground here to address the needs and plight of the people. We are here as district disaster management. As such,
There are many efforts that we are about to embark on. This is just one of the very many efforts that we're embarking on.
And community members have thanked government for lifting the plight of the people.
Twatotera sana pantu kuno twali kwato buchushi sana obwamato abantu akabwato kali chepa kali kwata nokula bunsha abantu kufa kwata accident lero obuteko bwostwale ilishanya kufika na pali ino nsta twasanga okutubuteko obo tulerira ngobo twale fwa obo bakutwafwa watu afwa batuletera amatwaya aya kutwafwa pa.
Raymond Chalata reporting for Zanis in Kaputa District, Northern Province.
In Muchinga Province, workers stand out in numbers to celebrate the annual Africa Public Service Day. The day is held to celebrate and recognize the value added by the public service in the lives of people by implementing government policies and programs. Speaking during the commemorations, Provincial Deputy Permanent Secretary Reverend Matthews Chilekwa says the province appreciates the work culture exhibited by public service workers. More in this report by Miriam Kumwenda.
Various government departments in Muchinga Province joined the rest of the country and African continent to commemorate the Africa Public Service Day, an event enshrined in the African Union calendar. As a way of celebrating this important day for the African continent, several government departments showcase what they do through exhibition stands to the public. Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Reverend Matthews Chilekwa graced this year's occasion.
The province appreciates the ongoing harmonization of administrative and legal systems among African countries to facilitate trade and investment, including cross-border trade. As a province that produces various products, we look forward to the realization of free movement of goods and services, as well as people, among our countries. In this regard, we will continue improving the efficiency and security of our borders.
Exhibitors also explained the mandate of their respective departments.
Basically, sir, our mandate as DMM is disaster risk reduction.
Under the statutory programs, this is where we help the juveniles that are found in conflict with the law.
In other countries, we sell for instance, our ceremonies, and they also buy from us. So we are in a trade atmosphere.
You see that line is breaking, but this one there's nothing, it's just goes straight. Yes. So most of our farmers have been duped in the rural areas, getting goats, pigs, using fake money. And this time around when our farmers are harvesting, so we are educating them to don't look out.
The Africa Public Service Day is celebrated annually on 23rd June to recognize the value added by the public service to the lives of the people. Miriam Kumwenda reporting for Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
Still on Public Service Day news, Provincial Minister Robert Lihefu has implored public service workers to take a leading role in the fight against corruption. In a speech read on his behalf by Provincial Acting Permanent Secretary Tredson Mulofwa, Mr. Lihefu says corruption negatively affects service delivery, hence government's resolve to stamp it out.
Declared in 1994, the Africa Public Service Day recognizes the value that public service adds to the lives of the people. In Solowezi District, various government departments exhibited their services to the public. Northwestern Province Acting Permanent Secretary Tredson Mulofwa graced the event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new Dawn administration has declared war on corruption. Where there is corruption, service delivery is negatively affected. Services such as road safety, social cash transfer, insurance of national identity cards, as well as land administration are compromised. I therefore urge all public service workers in the province to be part and parcel of the fight against corruption.
Mr. Mlofwa has implored public workers to work closely with communities in identifying constituency development fund projects.
I urge all constituencies in the province to expedite project identification and implementation to ensure that the CDF allocation is fully utilized within each financial year. We want our province to be the center of excellence in implementing projects under CDF.
The day, which was never short of entertainment, also saw some government departments being awarded in various categories. For Zanis, I am Onishas Mamba in Solwezi District, Northwestern Province.
We wrap up Public Service Day with Western Province, where Provincial Permanent Secretary Simomo Akapelwa has implored public service workers in the province to align themselves with government's agenda of improving public service delivery. Mr. Kapelwa says government is working towards improving working conditions of men and women in the public sector to deliver quality public service to the people. He said this in a speech read for him by his deputy, Richard Mulwanda, in Mongo. Namakao Kayombo now reports.
The public service is the key driver of an economy in the country, as it is constituted of technocrats in various sectors. It is for this reason that government has set a public service day to provide an opportunity for members of the public interact with public service workers and learn how they work. In Western Province, Deputy Permanent Secretary Richard Mulwanda graced the commemoration on behalf of Provincial Permanent Secretary with an emphasis for public service workers to execute their duties professionally.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Area will rely on the competence and skill of public servants at both national and regional levels to achieve its objectives of increasing inter-Africa trade and thereby accelerating economic development among African Union member states.
Mongo District Commissioner Morgana Kabeswa highlights strides government is doing to improve service delivery.
Decentralization holds great potential for development, in particular in poverty reduction, because it creates space for people to effectively participate in the decision-making processes. This, in turn, ladies and gentlemen, makes the public institutions where I belong, where you belong, more likely to become more responsive and accountable to the needs of the people of Zambia.
I spoke to some of the exhibitors from 3 government ministries.
So as surveyors, we use what is commonly known as a GPS, and this is the equipment that we've set for us to carry out land surveys, but technically we call them cadastral surveys. So we are the officers that implement placing of beacons.
We just want to at least make people understand that Drug Enforcement Commission, it is not a scary commission as they may think, where now we go in communities, workplaces, and we also do family and parenting skills to make people not to be ignorant.
Our coming here to Public Service Day, we came to showcase how the company is trying to transform the province in terms of water supply and sanitation.
Namakao Kayombo, reporting for Zanis in Mongo, Western Province.
We now take our final break and more stories when we return. Stay tuned.
For news and current affairs, entertainment, sports, children's programs, and a host of other events in and beyond our borders, Zanis TV has you covered. On Channel 6 and Channel 458 on Topstar.
health news, Southern Province Permanent Secretary Naman Monze has commissioned a maternity annex, an ablution block, and mechanized water supply system constructed by WaterAid Zambia at Rusangu Mission Hospital at a total cost of 3.2 million kwacha. WaterAid Zambia Interim Country Director Lee Mutolo says the infrastructure will enable increased water supply in health facilities, school and surrounding communities in Kazungula, Monze, Sesheke, and Mwandi districts in Southern Province and Western Provinces, respectively. Here are the details.
Access to maternal health care, water and sanitation facilities remains a major concern, particularly to women, girls, and children who often bear the burden of sourcing for these services. The burden is even more for expectant women and girls in rural communities who walk long distances to access these services. Like the case here in Rusangu and Chikonga communities in Moze district, maternal health care services were not anywhere near their communities. But today, the commissioning of the newly constructed maternity annex, an ablution block, and provision of the mechanized water supply system in the area has changed lives of the people for good.
I would like to express my appreciation to WaterAid Zambia and Encore Africa for extending their invitation to me to join this momentous occasion as we witness the handover of the Rusangu Health Center, maternity, ablution, and water system. This health center, constructed as part of the Resolution to Revolution 2 R2R project, is a testament to the collaborative efforts between the Zambian government and our esteemed partners. WaterAid, I think they spent about 3.2 million kwacha to have this infrastructure that we are seeing here.
Over 9,000 people will benefit from this project.
It is our desire that we see no woman die while they are giving birth.
The project has been provided with the support of WaterAid Zambia in collaboration with the government.
WaterAid, with funding from the Helmsley Charitable Trust and through WaterAid America, has been implementing the Revolution to Resolution project we are celebrating today, aims to create the new reality for WASH in healthcare facilities, schools, and surrounding communities.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church, South Zambia Conference President, Pastor Gladwin Mangwato, expressed gratitude to WaterAid Zambia and government for responding to the needs of the community.
This facility will be a beacon for hope and those who are suffering, not only in Rusangu, but the entire community of Southern Province. I thank you so much on behalf of the church, Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Iftibanji, Zanis, Monze in Southern Province.
And finally in the news, the United Freedom Fighters Association has called on the corporate world and government institutions to help in the uplifting of their living standards. Association National Vice Chairperson Yoram Chikamba has observed that despite a number of empowerment programs that government has rolled out, most freedom fighters have not benefited. Here is a report by Sunday Walia.
It is one of the groups that is usually neglected despite its important role in contributing to the country's independence struggle. These are some of the freedom fighters under the United Nations Freedom Fighters Association receiving a donation of various food and non-food items from Mad Boutique of Cosmopolitan Mall. Mad Boutique was represented by Cosmopolitan Mall Asset Manager.
Today is unique because Mad Boutique has recognized the role you, our freedom fighters, played in ensuring that we have freedom in this country. One thing I know for sure is that when somebody says this is good, there must be somebody who made that something to be good. Amen. Today we say that our country is free, you are the people who made this country to be free. Amen. Today we say we are a sovereign country because of you. And therefore, what Mad Boutique has done today is unprecedented.
And the freedom fighters are happy but have an appeal to make.
Appealing to all Zambian people that please look after these freedom fighters, because the independence they brought is what has resulted in the little economic benefits you are receiving. May I also, on behalf of the executive, appeal to all freedom fighters to register for the social cash transfer. We know the government is trying its level best to make sure that freedom fighters are being looked after.
By recognizing the people who had brought about the peace, freedom, stability, and the development that we are enjoying, as you heard from the slogan of the freedom fighters.
For Zanis in Lusaka, I am Sunday Warrior.
As we end the news, we recap on the headlines. Zambia's debt restructuring key to steer economic development. Zambia gears up to host King Mswati of Eswatini for trade fair. Government releases 1 million kwacha towards the rehabilitation of desks in Luapula. Plus, civil servants warned against abuse of farming imports.